welcome this week to this week's episode of Dice Warriors, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. This is Roxanne and my husband John.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
And my dad's here.
Hello.
And then we're joined by Donald.
Yes, hello everyone.
And you are the events coordinator here at the Pint.
That is correct, yes.
Board Game Tavern here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, doing our second show here for this episode, and very happy to be back. This is, without a doubt, I've said it before, I'll say it again, definitely the kind of highlight of all the stores I've been to, out of everything that I did when I was with Nomadic Nerd. I loved coming here. This was, to me, one of my favorite locations, and honestly sets a high bar as far as if I go to any other gaming taverns or pubs in throughout America. It sets a really high bar.
Well, thank you very much. We're proud to do that.
Yeah, we're kicking back. We're Roxy, of course, is hot cocoa. It is it's probably around 20 degrees outside right now.
Something like that. It's supposed to be. They were talking like it was going to be the biggest winter storm that Kansas City's seen in recent history, and it hasn't done a thing yet.
Yeah, they were saying 3 inches or something like that by the time we were looking to get out of here.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hot cocoaing because I don't do coffee. I'm lame.
But the coffee's wonderful as well. I'm definitely drinking mine.
Yes.
You took yours black tonight.
Yep.
So, as always, we have some trivia. Here's a little question. What founding father, what quote of a founding father does this one come from? Almost all these pursuits of chance produce something useful to society, but there is something which produce nothing and endanger the well-being of individuals engaged in them or other depending on them. Such games are cards, dice, and billiards. Yeah, can you guess what founding father probably said that? We're talking American Revolution. Someone from that time period. Anybody?
John Adams.
You think John Adams?
I think John Adams.
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. I could definitely imagine him.
I'm also thinking Ben Franklin for that one.
And I can definitely agree with that because he would often, do that kind of thing. But at the same time, he was kind of a little playboy behind the scenes.
I was saying, he was just kind of a...
But actually, and here's what shocked me about this quote, it's Thomas Jefferson.
Really?
Thomas Jefferson, who is, kind of the most liberal conservative of that era, is the one who made that quote. And
so dice, cards, and billiards.
Dice, cards, and billiards are going to ruin America. But I don't see it happening.
Surprisingly, those are a few of the things that aren't being mentioned currently.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, we are here today in Kansas City at Pint with Donald. And, the other night when we came in, we did see that as people came in the door, if they were looking for certain games or looking for whatever was going on, there were guys that would, talk with them and find games for them. But moreover than that, I'm really wondering how it is that things work here. I mean, as far as what it is that you do. I mean, as the event coordinator and other things.
Well, my primary job here at Pint is to make sure that there are exciting events and reasons to come in all throughout the month. That includes our ongoing games like the Daily Adventures League for 5th Edition Dungeons & Dragons, the weekly X-Wing Leagues, and coordinating all of our volunteers who run those, but also the one-off events. Like we'll have a social media night where you get rewarded in store with either a discount or coupon if you post something on social media while you're here and tag us in it. Or we have had really good traction lately with our Harry Potter house night, where players can come in and if they do certain challenges or certain games, earn points to have their house's banner hung over our bar for the next month.
Okay, see, I saw the Hufflepuff banner and I was like, I don't see any other house banners. They're repping the Badger over here, and you don't see that very often.
Yes, it was very close. The first night we did it in January, we had something to the tune of 300 people come into the store. It was our busiest night we've had yet. And by answering trivia questions, posting online, playing certain games, wearing their favorite swag from Harry Potter, they could earn the points. And it was neck and neck for a while there, and Slytherin took an early lead. But by the end of the night, to keep Slytherin from winning, the other 3 houses gained up and put Hufflepuff into the lead.
Man,
oh my god,
that's some hate right there.
That's some sneaky stuff there.
That's Slytherin worthy worthy competition.
All three of us are, different houses. I'm Gryffindor,
I'm Ravenclaw.
and
Hufflepuff.
Excellent. I and most of our crew are also Ravenclaws. We were a little disappointed with the result, but we tend to be a little biased as well.
Well, it's good to hear that there's a lot of Harry Potter fans up here because I actually might have some stuff to donate if you guys like Harry Potter
yes.
memorabilia.
And speaking of donations, that's something I also coordinate here.
Okay.
If anyone brings in a board game gently used, even if it's missing pieces, we will trade free play passes for the store because we always need more pieces to everything.
For sure.
And we're also in the middle of a drive right now to build a Dungeons and Dragons collection for some boarding students down in Subiaco, Arkansas.
Okay, and that's the monks, right?
Yes, the owner, Ed, and I went to Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas, and we happen to know several dozen monks that run boarding schools around the country, in the Midwest mostly. And one of them contacted us, who used to play games with us in college, and said, hey guys, I've got a bunch of students who are wanting to play games, and there's about 20 of them that want to do Dungeons and Dragons, and they have one set of dice and one book. Can you help? And I asked our community here, and the response has been overwhelming. We have something like 25 hardbound books, about 100 sets of dice already, and we'll be shipping those all out mid-February.
Fantastic.
That
That's
is
very
awesome.
cool.
It's one of those things where games for me, when I got into gaming, now my parents were unbelievably conservative. They were almost, I would call them, Puritan, but a lot of my friends
Remember, your mom listens to the show.
Well, and she's heard this before, but as some of my friends would be more, it's more like Tammy Faye Baker. As far as we were
I would never liken that to your mother.
But we were all part of the very charismatic movement, and all that stuff was very forbidden. But it came to a point where, for me, I was a little bit, behind in development as far as education. Gaming is what put me over. It's what got me reading. It's what got me doing my math. It got me socializing with people, and it really changed the way I look at life. And so for the geek community come together again in doing things that people always talk negatively about gamers when it comes to doing social work. They're always like, oh, what do they do? What do they do? What charity do they do? It's like, let me show you. And so that is
That's
amazing,
awesome
and
to hear
thank
about,
y'all
yeah.
so much for doing that.
It's our pleasure, certainly.
And but other than that, I mean, so you get monthly calendars with a whole bunch of different events.
One things we pride ourselves in is there's always at least one event going on in the store every single day, and we strive to have 3 every day. That doesn't always work out with the busier days, like with Comic-Con coming up and the pub crawls we're doing associated with that.
Okay.
There's just no way we can run a Game of Thrones pub crawl and 5 other events during the height of the convention. But what we try to do is have at least one open play event every day that anyone off the street can dive into, and at least one specialty event, something that tailors to a certain audience or a certain crowd. So we might have a tournament one night for the more competitive players, and the next night have a heavy strategy night, and then the next night do something like Dragon Slayer Fridays, where if you roll a few dice and get a certain number, you slay the dragon, you play for free. So we try and keep it mixed up between giveaways and challenges and rare game highlights and open plays and just different things to get people interacting with each other, trying things they haven't tried before, and make sure there's always something to do.
Awesome. Very cool.
Nice. Now, we were actually in on Saturday this week. We saw that there was, we were actually in this same booth, and I think we saw a group of people gaming. Were you a part of that?
Yeah, I was the dungeon master for that group. About twice a month I run a game for my friends here, high school and college, but I'm also the house dungeon master here at Pint. So I'm responsible for coordinating all of the dungeon masters that run the open plays here, making sure their schedules don't overlap too heavily. I do the substitute games if we have 5 players come in that don't have a DM. And over here in the booth, actually, is our Dungeon Master Library. We have about 800 total Dungeons & Dragons source material books, ranging from 1st edition, 2nd edition, all the way up through 5e, Pathfinder, Star Wars, Call of Cthulhu, GURPS, pretty much you name it. And it's all open source material. If you want to come in and look through them, that's what they're here for.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah. Having a library of the material here also keeps it to where people aren't having to worry about, transporting it, because books are heavy and there's a lot of them.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, I mean, you've got adventures up here. People can come in, grab an adventure, and run it right off the shelf.
Yeah, we have a lot of people come into data mine and find little parts of adventures or rooms to run or grab a campaign setting. We also have miniatures, maps, dice, anything a dungeon master could need that they may have forgotten, or it's their first time in the area, or they're traveling. Yeah, we have pretty much everything you could need to run a game right when you walk in.
Have you guys had issues with people mistreating your stuff?
Not even once. We've been running the Dungeon Master Library for about 8 or 9 months now. We've never had a book go missing. We've had people return dice they've accidentally taken home with them, very apologetic. The community here is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've never even had a drunk in the building, and we've been running a bar for 4 months. Not one.
Wow.
Yeah.
But no, that is wonderful, and it makes me so happy. Thank you, gamers, for keeping the community looking good.
Yeah, no, it is awesome to see. I mean, I haven't lived in Kansas City in 10 years now almost, and to have a place like this here now, I'm like, oh well, it's time to come back.
Yeah, it's time to get back.
I moved away for work, and I'm like, well, now I want to move back to play games. Oh, my mom and dad are here.
But yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And as always, just want to say, be sure to come out, check out the Pond and Pint. They have an amazing list of drinks that I'm
and it's
in love
all
with the
local
menu.
stuff, right? Or?
It's not exclusively local, but we pride ourselves in having a very extensive local collection.
Okay. And you did say, I think it was before the episode started, but let's mention your social media. So
yes.
people can look you guys up.
So we can be found on our website, pondandpint.com, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just look for Pond and Pint, you'll find us. Okay. We also have several Facebook groups to coordinate gamers. So if you go to looking for game at Pond and Pint, there's about 1,000 people on there. You can post about the game you want to play and find people to play with.
Okay,
awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you said you were rated 3rd in Kansas City?
Yes, we were. Before we moved to our new location back in September, we were ranked 3rd best social media in Kansas City for a business, and the only 2 that beat us were the Nelson Art Gallery and the KC Public Library. So we're pretty proud of that.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So this is a great location. If any of our listeners are in this area or you're traveling through, definitely make your way here.
It's worth the travel, and it's worth the detour. If you're in this area, come on out.
Because there's plenty of games. You don't have to bring your own games. There's plenty of games to play on the wall. You will not leave dissatisfied with. And like I said in our last show, we've had great service here. People that we've been well taken care of. So we really appreciate all that you guys are doing here.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So, well, we'll talk to you all next week. Thank you, Donald, for joining us.
My pleasure, everyone.
All right, and as always, remember, show me your dice, and I'll show you mine.
You've been listening to Dice Foyers. Please subscribe to get our episodes as soon as they release. For more information about us, check out PassionNerdly.com, at PassionNerdly on Twitter and Instagram, as well as Facebook.com/PassionNerdly. Also, if you're interested in supporting our show, look us up at Patreon.com/PassionNerdly. Once again, thank you for listening.
This has been a production of the Southgate Media Group. For more podcasts like this one, head over to SouthgateMediaGroup.com.